Hey everyone, welcome to the PFF Betting Podcast. I am your host, Kendall Ben, joined by senior data scientist Ben Brown. And of course, we have a full slate of week 17 games to break down, tons of props, tons of plays for you guys today. So let's get into it. Football fans, I'm sure we all love an action-packed, high-scoring NFL game, but with the latest no-brainer from DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, you'll be a winner once a single point is scored. New customers who bet just $1 on any team to score can win $100 in free bets. It's just that simple. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you can still get in on the NFL action. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings daily fantasy sports contests. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code PFF. Bet $1 on any team to score and win $100 in free bets if they score. You score with promo code PFF this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Ben, you threw me a curveball here at the beginning because I feel like between the two of us, I am the one that usually checks the weather. And you are actually way more on top of it. And you're telling me we got to talk about the weather right off the top and then you sent me the article. There's supposed to be some crazy weather that could really impact the passing games this weekend. So that's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're supposed to be the weather, person on this podcast. I'm, leading the charge, I guess, this week. But yeah, our friends at 4for4.com, Chris Allen writes a weekly weather report. I usually check it out. And obviously this week has been incredibly crazy from a weather perspective. So I do think, starting off the show there, it is going to definitely impact certain passing games, receivers, those sorts of things. It does look like Giants, Bears, definitely dicey from a win perspective. Dolphins, Titans, which, does factor into a prop that both of us like a little bit later on here. That's also going to have some wind concerns. Even Chiefs, Bengals a little bit, could get up to 18-mile-per-hour winds, maybe a chance at precipitation. So all in all, I think there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 or so games that have some sort of weather concern based on Chris Allen's weather report write-up. So you can check that out at 4for4.com. But yeah, it is definitely going to be impactful either from temperature or wind. So have that in the back of your mind here, and we'll definitely try and highlight any scenarios that we think could be impacted by the weather, and ones that we talk about here later on. But just making people aware of that for sure.
Yeah, we're letting people know right at the very beginning. Yeah, he says in his article, Giants, Detroit and Seattle, and even Green Bay too, the Green Bay game. So that's we'll make sure you guys look at that and things like that. We'll try and update it as soon as we can. But yeah, that should have some impact for sure on these props. But let's get started then. If we're going to talk about weather, we know one game that probably won't have a big weather problem, and that is the Chargers. And you like Justin Herbert to go under 0.5 interceptions, which when some people hear that, they'll probably think you're crazy based on what he's done this season. But there's a lot at stake too in this Chargers game. So what are you seeing from Herbert that you don't think he's going to throw an interception this weekend?
Yeah, definitely. So he has gone over in 10 to 15 games. Obviously not the record that we're really looking for usually, but in saying that, he has been, he does have like the 7th lowest turnover-worthy play percentage so far in 2021. So, or I guess, starting off 2022 year, even though this still is 2021 season, but he has had a lot of poor turnover luck based on his actual play. I think he has the highest amount of interceptions that weren't actually on a turnover-worthy play. So he has had, just a little bit of unfortunate breaks in certain situations. I do think that that's obviously going to regress toward the mean just a little bit. I do think people buy into Denver's kind of still being this top defensive unit. We have them 11th overall in our coverage grade, but I think given all of the the need for the Chargers to actually play really well here in order to get into the playoffs. I think Herbert's going to have a pretty clean game here. We're not getting a plus price or anything on this under interception prop, but I do still think it's definitely one of the better opportunities here on Sunday based on, a little bit of regression to the mean for Herbert coming up here.
You said Herbert has had some pretty bad luck, but I do not think that Patrick Surtain interception the last time they met was bad luck.
True.
I think that was all him.
That was bad.
So I don't know.
Bad throw. Bad throw.
That was bad. I don't know. I might push back on this one because I know the Broncos defense, like you said, they're good, but their secondary is you can't deny their secondary is one of the best in the NFL. They allow 210.7 passing yards per game, which is the 5th best in the league. And I just think, I don't know. Justin Herbert has been making those mistakes, whether they be his fault or not, and going up against Surtain again. I think the Broncos have a lot of players too on their COVID list that went on the COVID list, so they're not playing. So I may look at this and say, hey, the Broncos, the defense might be all they have with Drew Lock under center to try and win this or try and stay in this game, I should say. So I don't know. I don't know, Ben.
I like the fact too that, Chargers, wide receiver unit is going to be back to full strength as well. So I know they had a little bit of luck, or not necessarily luck, but they did play pretty well against Herbert in their first matchup this season. But I do think, Herbert being, as good as I think he actually is, I do think that he's probably going to correct some of those mistakes. And I do think he's going to probably take full advantage of everything that Denver potentially gives him. So I think he's going to have a clean game here. I think this is a good spot to be in for sure. So,
all right, perfect. And there's a lot at stake there for them. I mean, it's a must-win game technically because they're not mathematically eliminated from the postseason contention if they lose to the Broncos, but the odds would be so slim with one game left in the regular season. So I can see that side of it. Another quarterback you like to have a clean, I'm going to say clean, but I want to make sure I'm saying what you think is going to happen. A clean game is Sam Darnold. You want him to go, or no, I'm sorry. I thought this was interceptions. So you like Sam Darnold under 0.5 passing touchdowns.
This is the opposite of a clean game.
Never mind. Take everything back. I thought I read interceptions. Never mind. You think Sam Darnold is just not it. He's going to show it on Sunday again and just not have any passing touchdowns.
Yeah, basically. So under 0.5 passing touchdowns, plus 175 price. Obviously, Saints defense, we have them as the second best unit in the NFL. According to PFF's point adjusted grade. So have played really well, have shut down a number of quarterbacks that I would consider to be a lot better than Sam Darnold. And there is still, obviously Sam Darnold starting, but there is still this, idea that maybe we see some Cam Newton mixed in at certain situations. Maybe he could be utilized some near the goal line in those red zone things. He obviously, brings a lot more from a running perspective than what Sam Darnold has. So I think he's going to go under here. Obviously, plus 175 price. You don't need it to happen 50% of the time, even in order for it to break even. I think 36.4% is the break even percentage. PFF's betting model kind of has this closer to a 50-50 proposition. So this is actually one of our highest value plays on the weekend. I like it quite a bit too. I'm not a Sam Darnold fan. I think we actually see him definitely struggle here on Sunday against what is basically one of the best defenses in the NFL. So
yeah, I'm laughing. I don't even know why I would think that you wrote that Sam Darnold would have. That's on me. That's on me. It's not going to be clean. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be gross. And, New Orleans is clinging to like a 27, I think I read in your article, chance of making the playoffs. And they have Taysom Hill back under center. So I guess everything is pointing, and it's Sam Darnold. So I guess everything is pointing to not a clean game from him. So that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm laughing. I'm never going to say that Sam Darnold is going to play a clean game again.
Right.
Ever.
We're going to have to quit this if we actually say that again. So yeah.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Well, someone I know, Joe Burrow, he has been our hero, Ben. Maybe a little bit, at least for me, a little bit of a hero. I can't remember the last time I haven't bet his quarterback rushing prop in these last few weeks. It's something that we talked about when we first started doing this on StreamYard and just streaming these before we started the podcast.
Right.
And it has been my favorite thing to bet. And we're going back again because it's set at 6.5 rushing yards. They are playing the Chiefs, but I'm with you. I think that this one is another one that he's going to hit that over.
Yeah, definitely. And you can actually find it at 5.5 now. So it has moved down a little bit. Of course, the article hasn't necessarily dropped yet. So do a little bit of line shopping. But yeah, this seems like an absolute slam dunk for Joe Burrow again, given a little bit of the weather concerns. If there is some wind factor, if it is rainy and wet, I do think we're going to see, Joe Burrow have to run a little bit. Obviously, he has been successful in some of those designed rush attempts. Also does take a high percentage of sacks when he is under pressure. But if he does break through on one of those, actually does alleviate the pass rush. I do think he's going to be able to go over this with probably one run based on how low his rushing prop number is right now. Kansas City, of course, kind of is a really good defense to target for quarterback rushing tops. I think they have like a top 10 pass rush unit, also top 10 blitz rate, top 10 pressure rate, top 10 blitz rate as well. So high pressure, high blitz percentages. So I do think we're going to see Burrow, have to take off here once or twice. I do think that once he does, he's going to be somewhat successful doing that. And I think he's easily going to go over this number. And like you said, this has been kind of a slam dunk for us, has gone over this the past 2 weeks. We've talked about it and written it up basically the past 2 weeks. So why not roll with it here for the third week in a spot that the Bengals, don't necessarily have to win, but this is maybe the biggest game in Cincinnati in quite some time. So
I was going to ask you, do you think this game is do you expect this game to be a shootout, or what are you kind of looking for in this? Because I have Joe Burrow potentially as an anytime touchdown scorer, but I want to know if you're expecting it to be a little bit of a shootout.
I was early in the week. The weather has me a little bit concerned just based on, could be a little bit slower paced game, but I do think the Chiefs are going to play quite well here. I know a lot of people are trying to get on the Bengals bandwagon. It's one that I've been on for basically 2 seasons now. So I think it's almost, they're a little bit overvalued, but I do think the Chiefs are going to put up points. And then the question becomes, is Joe Burrow and that Cincinnati Bengals offense able to keep pace? And I think that's going to be the question of whether it turns into a shootout or not, basically. So.
Okay. Because I had a long shot. Joe Burrow's anytime touchdown right now is at plus 510, right? And so I'm thinking if it's an expected shootout, he should have some room to run on Sunday, just a little bit, because the Chiefs secondary obviously is impressive. We've said that before, but their run defense is just like their kryptonite, right? It's just like the Chiefs, they've given up, what did I read? They've given up 5 rushing touchdowns to opposing quarterbacks, and none of them have been named Jalen Hurts. Like none are Jalen Hurts, essentially. So they're doing these things, and I feel like if Joe Burrow gets away, we've seen him run, I think a couple in there this year. So I think if it's there and at plus 510, I love the odds. So if you like the opportunity and it really goes along with our rushing quarterback prop, I think I might take them both. I don't know, Ben. I might take them both. I mean, that should be a fun. You're going to be there. You're going to be there.
I'm going to be there cheering for Joe Burrow to get in the end zone and to rush as often as possible. So if he needs just a little bit of extra motivation, I will definitely be providing it for him. And I do think that is probably what's going to get him over the hill. I like it quite a bit. Plus 510 anytime touchdown score for Joe Burrow. I'm locking that one in here, I think, too.
I love it. You'll have to text me, so I don't have to wait for the TV feed. Right. So you'll just text me. I'll know exactly what you're talking about.
I'll just video call you basically the whole game or something. We can just kind of do this or something. Maybe they'll post it on YouTube. I don't know. After we'll see.
Oh, perfect. FaceTime me from the box. I already have FOMO. I want to be there so bad, but you're going to have so much fun. So except you don't have a jacket. So that's a little, you got to go to the store or something.
We'll have to find something.
Not bring a jacket to Cincinnati?
I don't know. I'm from Minnesota, I guess. And I was just I can't be that cold, right? So I expected to be a little bit, not too bad. It was 55 or 60 degrees the first couple of days I was here. And now it's going to be, 10 or 15. So I guess we'll see. I might need to buy a Chiefs starter jacket or something, or a Bengals starter jacket. I don't know exactly, but we'll see what the shop holds. I'm sure you'll have
Eric
something.
Will give you a Chiefs anything and everything. Let's go to Jalen Waddle. I have loved, he's been fun to watch these last couple weeks, but you like his over 6.5 receptions in this game.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously there is some wind concerns in this matchup as well, but he has been, targeted heavily. I think he's at almost 30% of his targets, or 30% of his routes run. He's seen a target since week 6, which was when, Tua kind of returned from that injury. 26.7% of the team target share. So has been the guy in this Miami-Dade offensive passing offense. And it's somewhat of a low average depth of target. I think almost 80% of his targets have been catchable. Close to 65% have been within 9 yards of the line of scrimmage or less. So even with weather concerns, he is going to see a lot of targets underneath. Can easily go over this number at, a plus price. He's obviously done it the last 2 weeks. I think he's going to do it do it again here for the Dolphins, who are, also kind of still clinging to slim playoff hopes. So I like this one quite a bit in a spot that I think could be kind of an intriguing, maybe under the radar shootout matchup here between the Titans and Dolphins, but we'll see how the Titans actually play here on Sunday. So.
Yeah. If I brought up because I was looking at his over, maybe thinking about his over 70.5 receiving yards, but it makes me nervous now that you've told me about the weather a little bit. But he is in his last 3 games, he's averaging 9.3 catches for 106 yards. And this is the thing that I think you're gonna lock up. I love that might be my favorite bet is his receptions for you, because he's six catches away from breaking Anquan Bolden's rookie record of 101 catches. So I just think it's the story is there, but do you like the receiving yards to pair with it, or not necessarily because of the weather?
I don't know.
It's his highest. I think it's his highest too.
Yeah, it is his highest of the season. He has gone over it basically the last 4 weeks. But yeah, this is his highest by, I would say, like 6 yards. So it does feel maybe a little difficult. I do think he's going to have to do quite a bit yards after the catch in order to go over this number. But yeah, if you like reception over, it does make sense, and it does correlate quite heavily to his receiving yards one. So I don't hate it. I do think if I was only going to bet one, I would definitely lean towards the receptions at the plus price.
I think you're right. So yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it's the Titans defense allows the most catches and most yards per game to wide receivers, but 70.5 is a lot. Right. So I think I'm with you on his reception train though, because that one seems like a lock. And it's the story is there. What are we talking? The story's right there.
Right.
We love a good story. Do you have any other ones that you're kind of looking at, or that you want people to follow? Any props you like still?
Oh man, I don't know. There's a couple I wrote up early in the week. I didn't mind like Matthew Stafford over 2.5 passing touchdowns, but again, wind concerns in Baltimore, but that Baltimore defense is, absolutely in a really bad spot right now. Heavy amount of injury situations. Obviously, we saw what Joe Burrow did to them last week. I do think Stafford's probably capable of doing very similar things. So especially underneath with a guy like Cooper Kupp, I think he's going to be open basically all day long. So Stafford over 2.5 pass touchdowns. That was like my one blemish last week, but I think it's gonna pay off here.
It's gonna right itself
in week 17, right? Yeah, and then Mark Ingram under 30.5 rushing yards, I also think is a pretty decent spot. He's just not getting enough of the rush attempt shares in that offense. Maybe if the Saints end up blowing out, maybe that's a spot where he's going to be a little bit more involved. But saying that, we didn't like Sam Darnold's under, or we do like Sam Darnold's under passing touchdown props. So the only concerning thing for me is if the Saints end up blowing out Carolina, Mark Ingram maybe gets a few more carries at the end of the game instead of Alvin Kamara, but I don't really see it happening. So I like him under as well, but we'll see. It's kind of it's a little bit of a weird week, obviously in week 17, weather, everything else happening. There's doesn't really seem to be any motivation factors happening right now, but you never know how things are going to kind of transpire here in week 17 and week 18. So
yeah, you never know. I will pair that with the Stafford one you said. I did like OBJ anytime too. I bet that I think 2 days ago or so. I found it at a plus price at 162. So shop around. But their secondary, the Ravens secondary is non-existent. So really at this point, no team has allowed. But it's all bad stuff going on there, but no team has allowed more passing touchdowns over the last 3 weeks. We saw what happened last week. So I think at the plus price, because you always have Cup and those monsters over there, but I think at the plus price, I think that could be a good play to pair with yours if you're doing it.
Right. If I can get on board with that. I don't mind that. Yeah, I do think it's going to be, obviously there's some motivation for Cooper Kupp with the 2,000 yard season and everything else, but OBJ has been involved, especially near the red zone. So at his plus price, I do think if you buy into Matthew Stafford going over 2.5, I think one of those is definitely going to go to OBJ. So
perfect. Oh, you're gonna have so much fun tomorrow. I'm already jealous. You'll just have to send me pictures.
I will.
Is this your first game of first NFL game of the season?
This is. I haven't gone to a single one. I was gonna go to Steelers Vikings on Thursday night here in early December, and I did not go to that one. And I didn't go to any games last year either. So this is basically my first game since 2019, I want to say, basically. So it has been a while. Obviously I enjoy the sweats at home with the red zone channel, but this is a new experience for me. My first ever Cincinnati Bengals game, first ever game at Paul Brown Stadium. So I'm excited here, to say the least.
It'll be fun. Everyone follow Ben Brown's Twitter account. We're hoping he He gets drunk tweets everything.
Drunk tweets, right.
I'll pick you guys up. Don't worry. It'll be fine.
But we'll just walk back to PFF headquarters. I mean, we don't even need to.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I mean, you don't even need to walk.
Right.
Oh my gosh, you on a scooter with Eric Eager. I kind of need to see it. That'll be the video that we release. That will be the video that we release on YouTube, right? So that'll be perfect. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. PFF.com/betting. That is where you can find all this great information, all this great content from Ben and everyone else on the betting team. And good luck tomorrow, everyone.